up, you guys? This is Techrodd with a new After Effects tutorial. In this episode we'll be covering the user interface, getting used to it, the composition settings, the project settings, and the basic uses of layers, importing files, and some pretty awesome hotkeys. Alright, so let's get started. Okay, so as you can see, this is After Effects. In my last episode I said I'll be using After Effects CS6, so I'll still be using it. It's pretty much the same as CS5 and CS4, and there are some features. The only difference is that CS4, CS5 doesn't have some features. Those aren't a lot. Alright, so let's get started. This is After Effects, and we're going to get used to the user interface. So let's begin. So over here we can see project. This is where you can see all your files you have imported and all your compositions. Over here you can see the composition. This is where you'll be editing your layers. Over here you can see the ramp preview. If you don't have the ramp preview, go to window over here and choose where is it preview over here. Same thing for character and paragraph. So character is for your text layers, so you can change the font in here, you can change the bold or anything, the size, etc. Same thing for paragraph, and over here you can see effects and presets, so you can also view them from here. And over here you can see the composition. This is where you will see the image of your project. So on top here you can see the toolbar, and we're now using the selection tool V. The selection tool is what you use by navigating through and replacing the keyframes, for example, or applying new effects. That's what you use the selection tool for selecting the things. I'll be showing that in just moments, and the other ones as well. Okay, so we're selecting the selection tool again, and we're going to create a new composition. Every time you open up a new project by going File, New Project over here, or pressing Ctrl Alt N, and we have to create a new composition. You have to do that every time. So go to Composition and select New Composition, or by pressing Ctrl N. You can choose your composition name over here. Let's just name it Tutorial for now. Alright, so and with presets you can see over here it's on HD 720p and 30 frames per second. This is what most people use. I use it also a lot because it's HD and 30 frames per second. That's enough. I'll be using HD just for this tutorial. Square pixels, 30 frames, drop frame, alright. Resolution, doesn't matter what it is, doesn't matter. And over here you can see timecode and duration. Timecode, we're going to leave it as it is. Over here we can see duration, and we're going to, it's 5 seconds. And we're going to make it, let's say, a minute for now. Okay. And over here we can see the background color. Let's just make it black, and then press OK. Alright, you can see there's something different. We can navigate through the composition over here, and we can see our image, which is black. If it's not black, this might be selected. So the transparency grid is selected and toggled. So as you can see, if you want to change your composition settings, you gotta go press Ctrl and K, and you get your composition settings, or just by going composition over here, composition settings, or Ctrl K. That's it for the basics. We're now going to take a look at the layers. So what are layers? Layers are the that's what you work with. Make a new layer. So go over here, layer, and choose new, and then solid, or by pressing Ctrl Y. And the solid settings are by default the same as the composition settings. Let's make the background color black. Okay, and we have our solids over here, our new layer. What we're going to do now is going to create a new text layer just by pressing layer, new text, or selecting this one over here. Type in some words. Okay, hold on a second. I'm going to change the font. There we go. Right, so that's a basic text. We can click on it, or we can click on it here, and with the selection tool we can move it. You can see we can move the text up here, or down here, or back in the middle. Press Ctrl Z to undo, and Ctrl Shift Z to redo. Okay, or we can see it here, over here, over here. Okay, so we have our text, and we're going to play a little bit the with After Effects. So we're going to leave it as this composition, these text layers. We're going to leave it as this, and we're going to try to get used to the interface and get used to the tools over here. Okay, so here we can see the selection tool and the hand tool, so we've got that covered. I'm going to show you now the hand tool. You can see it becomes a hand, and when you scroll in to zoom in, holding your your right mouse button and drag it, you can see you're moving the screen. Or when you zoom out, you see you can move the screen, and you're not moving any layers or any text, for example. It's really handful for example when you're working with masks. Press V again to get back to the selection tool. Okay, so the zoom tool, I don't use it a lot, but it's really handful if you're using a laptop, for example, and you don't have a mouse. And over here we can see the rotation tool. We get to that by pressing W. Yeah, we can move the text layer, rotate the text layer. Sorry, we can rotate the text layer. But you can do that on other ways, which are easy, more easy than this, using that tool. I'll be covering that in a minute. So, and over here you can see the camera tool, which we won't be using. This won't be using as well. We won't be using that as well. The rectangle tool. The pen tool is the masks tool. So, for example, click on it and you have your masks. But that's for a later tutorial on how to work with masks. Over here you can see your text tool. So, for example, select text tool and you want to select your text. Voila, there we go. Clone stamp, eraser tool, don't really need it. Alright, so that's about it for the tools. Okay, so for example, you want to have your settings for you want to change the position or the size of your text. You do that by going to your text layer and clicking this little arrow over here, and this opens up the transform, and over here you can see the position, the scale, rotation and opacity, and anchor point as well. Anchor point is same as position, and as you can see, if we increase or decrease it, the text is moving. Or by increasing the size, the scale, by increasing the scale we can see that the text has gone bigger. And as well for the rotation tool we can rotate it. So, and same for opacity, fade in, fade out. Okay, we're going to reset that. I found a great site where all the hotkeys are displayed, but you don't really have to know them all. But I'm going to show some basic hotkeys I use a lot. So, for example, when you're editing with layers, pressing Ctrl D makes a duplicate, the D from duplicate, and it makes a second layer, as you can see. Pretty basic. Next thing I use a lot is by pressing U, just U. And when you press U, you won't be seeing anything now, but for example, when you're editing, when you're animating and you press U, you will see all your keyframes. So it's really handful. So don't worry, I'll be repeating those hotkeys every time we do something. So Ctrl Z and Ctrl Shift Z are for undo and redo. Page down and page up are for navigating. So the arrows won't work. You gotta have to use page down and page up to move frame per frame. As we can see over here, we're moving frame per frame. You're gonna have to click always open up here and open this up, and for only using the position. Now we're not going to do that every time. We're simply going to press P, and when you press the letter P, you see over here position, and we only got the position, and we press P again, it disappears. Same thing for scale, that's just pressing S. You can see we can increase the scale. For opacity it's T, so no O but T, gotta keep that in mind. And see, we can change the opacity. And the same thing for rotation is with the R from rotation, and we can rotate the text. Okay, so I hope you got something in mind for using After Effects. In the next tutorial we'll be doing our first animation. We're going to do a text animation. You can try it out if you want. I won't stop you. Just get used to the program, try to animate, try to search some other tutorials for it, but really got to watch my next episode for this one. I hope this tutorial was useful for you, and you got something, and I hope you learned something with it. If you have any question, please ask. For example, why is my workspace different than yours? I will answer those questions. Okay, so I think that's about it. So thank you for watching my second episode of my new show called After Effects Tutorials. I really hope you'll become an awesome editor. And yeah, so please like and comment, and please subscribe for more tutorials, and please subscribe to my After Effects show as well. Okay, so thank you for watching.